Core Media. Blockchain news, crypto crews, and interviews, keeping you tuned in to the ecosystem.
Hello and welcome to Core Radio. Tonight is a couple nights before Christmas, and we have a Christmas special for you. We have a Vericoin. Vericoin has been around a long time. I probably first met Vericoin 3 years ago, and I kind of have a little history of Vericoin. I have a little soft spot in my heart for Vericoin. It was like my second coin to Litecoin, when I first started, and it's been a hell of a ride for Litecoin. I mean for Vericoin, a lot of roller coasters. There was that exchange issue. There's a lot going on, but you know what? At the end of the day, they're still going, and they're still developing. Today, I have the developer on, one of the developers. I believe there are quite a few more. I've been following the forum myself for quite a while. And his name is Doug Pike. Welcome, yep. Doug.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm very excited, man. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has.
I used to watch you on the YouTubes, I'm like,
yeah.
another Vericoin video, man, and then
yeah.
Me and my friends, we were all in, and we're like, oh, look, they're gonna do, some type of thing with mail next, and it was some crazy stuff. Yeah, and then we had Patrick with the guitar, remember, right? And everyone's telling him, come on, play a song.
It was good times.
It was good, man. I'm telling you. Actually, I always give you guys the credit to be the first ones to have crypto on YouTube.
I guess so.
You're the first videos we started watching, and excited to watch every single time there was a new YouTube video.
Yeah, everybody always talks about how much they love the hangouts, especially the early ones, because the coin was new and we were doing some new stuff. And like you said, we were one of the first few coins to be to reveal our identities and show our faces and basically put our reputations on the line effectively, which gave people a large degree of comfort at that time because pretty much everybody followed the Satoshi model, which is launch a coin with a pseudonym, and then there's a few people who came out before us, but maybe just weren't as visible as we were, especially for a new coin. But it was fun. It was fun. Actually, at first, I was also going to have a pseudonym, and I did initially, just because I didn't want to have to deal with people trying to like hack my computer for coins, random stuff like that. But then we decided it makes more sense. I mean, we don't have anything to hide, so why would we?
Yeah, well, you guys have always been upfront, even during the hard times. You were upfront with everything, so there was no shadiness going on that I remember.
Right.
So last time I heard about Vericoin was a long time ago, and then something happened. There was some type of ICO, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I did contact you guys for a show, but I never heard back on the ICO. And I was like, I was waiting for Jay, and he never responded back anymore. Okay. And I was like, it's too bad. You could have had a good show.
The problem is when we're getting ready to launch something, Jay, who did it quite often, would always be like, dude, you got to do interviews, you got to do hangouts, everybody loves them. And I'm like, dude, I got to fucking finish this coding, you know what I mean? So it comes in like ebb and flows depending on what's going on, especially when you set a deadline. It's tough because I'm like, every extra minute I'm trying to debug,
Gotcha.
So,
yeah, you're the developer,
dude.
That's
part of it.
So then something happened, right? There was this ICO, and I was really confused. I had no idea how it worked. All I know is that I exchange my Vericoin and I get some Verium, right?
Right.
And the whole time I was thinking, okay, there's not going to be a Vericoin anymore. It's now going to be Verium,
Mhm.
right? I thought it was going to be like a 1-for-1. It's going to be a new name and
That there was going to
everything.
be a replacement. We were replacing Vericoin with
Dude, I
something.
swear to God, I thought that's what it was.
Yeah.
That was I was, and then all of a sudden, Vericoin was still alive. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? I was so confused.
Yeah,
You
you know
know,
what? We called it a swap because, which we probably shouldn't have, because I think other people were confused too. But we called it a swap because we were accepting Vericoin as the payment for the ICO as opposed to Bitcoin. So it was really like, if you want to diversify your Vericoin holdings into our own POW, that's the option you have basically in the ICO. And we wanted to raise Vericoin for obvious reasons. It's the currency we created. And we also wanted to let people know that we weren't just trying to like get Bitcoin and then like people on the Bitcoin Talk forum have been like, this is a massive exit scam. And like you don't do exit scams by taking a coin besides Bitcoin that you've been working on for 2 years. So that was one of the main reasons why we took Vericoin. So we used the word swap, which is a little misleading. Some people took that to mean it was a replacement coin.
yeah, but dude, was, I started mining it, right, and I did really well. I had like 200,
Yeah,
I mined like 300 at the beginning,
yeah.
and there was some nights I come home and I mined like three. Like I was like, oh geez, while I was away, I got like 12, 24.
Yeah.
It's actually really awesome, and I really like it, and I'll tell you why I really like it.
Okay.
It's easy, dude. It's
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
My mom could do it. I installed the program on her computer.
Mhm.
I press the mining button. I go, "Ma, you're gonna earn some money,"
Yeah.
and she's got it on,
Yeah.
and she mines. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So tell me about the idea behind the two coins now. Now I know that Vericoin is still alive, right?
Right.
And I know that we have now a Verium. So what's the difference between the blockchains and why what was the idea behind having the two?
Okay, so it's interesting. We concluded after, like you said, all the ups and downs with Vericoin and everything. We saw the market kinetics for a long time. We watched it and we improved the proof of stake algorithm and created proof of stake time, which is a modification of proof of stake protocol, and made it more secure, made it more resistant to the min pal situation where someone had too many coins, made the consensus more decentralized in the way that the protocol works. And we did everything we thought really needed to be done, essentially. And there's all kinds of extra stuff you can add in, and a lot of coins have done all kinds of stuff. But we just wanted to create a good currency that worked and was efficient and had low fees and could be sent around the world very easily. And we accomplished all that, like you said, with bumps in the road. And one of the conclusions that we came to was that one of the biggest missing pieces in proof of stake is the conundrum, because it is efficient, because it doesn't use any electricity. It also doesn't have a profit a profit price or profit level imposed on it by the costs of mining. So to some extent, it's largely a speculative object, proof of stake coins, because we're not in an age where crypto is actually spent every day, apart from Bitcoin in some cases. So what we wanted to do was basically get the best of both worlds. Have two chains. One has low fees, is efficient, is the currency, and then create a commodity. Basically, take the duality that Bitcoin is, a currency and a commodity, and separate it out into two separate chains. And this way, what we can do is have an efficient, fast, cheap currency that has no costs necessary to maintain the system, essentially. But at the same time, we can have a new market, a new digital commodity, or it's basically a coin, but we're framing the protocol differently such that it acts more as a commodity in that there's lower supply, the fees are higher, and it requires costs to generate, to create. And what we ultimately want to do now is pair them together, both at the protocol level and at the market level. And once that's complete, which is one of the things we're working on right now, then we think we will be able to have built an ecosystem that has both the profit supporting costs of a POW that will grow over time, with the assumption that mining increases over time, and then a currency that's cheap and fast, and they feed each other, both at the market level and at the protocol level, and we can essentially diversify the currency's consensus by accepting some POW blocks from Verium. We can give the Verium miners some bonus Vericoin rewards, a little bit, but kind of like if you mine Litecoin, you can get some bonus dog coin. It's going to work like that, and Vericoin, the Vericoin blockchain will accept Verium blocks that are compatible with the current consensus of the Vericoin blockchain. So what ends up happening is you have two chains, they're two separate networks, two separate sets of individuals with competing interests, all supporting a currency via work and a commodity while maintaining the efficiency of proof of stake.
All right. So how would it be used in like a business setting, or like give me a scenario where you feel that Vericoin could have a good use case scenario.
Verium or Vericoin?
Either or. I mean, one blockchain is fast, right?
Right.
And the other one is slow.
Right.
Verium is more secure, right? Because it's slower and it's got the mining.
Yeah, it's more conservative, basically. Yeah.
So it's a little slower. So like can you give me some use cases for each one, and
Yes.
what you envision them being used for? Because we have like platforms out there like Waves, where it's their blockchain is really fast and people are planning to use it for really fast transactions.
Right.
They're saying they're going to create a decentralized exchange that is going to be fast, because the one that NXT created was too slow, and bots couldn't be used, but the one that's going to be on Waves is going to be like a centralized exchange but only decentralized, and because it's using a code called Scala and it's really fast and all that jazz, right?
Right.
Like what use case do you see for Vericoin and VRC?
Okay, so the two separate points I'll make on this, one on Vericoin and one on Verium. So Vericoin is a currency, and the bootstrap of a currency, into a marketplace is essentially comes down to, are people willing to accept it as some form of payment? And that's a tough thing to achieve. So we initially started out kind of sidestepping that problem to some extent by having Veribit, which is basically Shapeshift before Shapeshift existed, built into the Vericoin wallet, where you can send Vericoin to any Bitcoin address. On the back end, we auto-convert it to Bitcoin and send it to your intended Bitcoin address. And basically, from the Vericoin wallet, you can spend at anywhere Bitcoin's accepted. So that was one of the ways that we tried to handle this bootstrapping problem into the marketplace. But but it's at the end of the day, you're selling Vericoin. It's not truly closing the market loop. So, and in researching it over the years, studying what's been happening with Bitcoin and all the other coins, the ones that I've followed, what we concluded ultimately is that we really need an actual use case for Vericoin to really achieve this closed market loop where people are willing to accept it, and therefore people are willing to pay with it. And so actually one of the things that we did in the ICO for Verium was raise funds in 3 different categories: Vericoin funds for development, Vericoin funds for marketing, and Vericoin funds for third-party partnerships. We have already hired a marketing company, and they have been using Google Analytics, studying what our current user base is through our website, like what nations download our wallet, et cetera, et cetera. They're targeting where we could have Google ads placed, what kind of viral and guerrilla marketing we could do. They're building a strategy. They're also building a resource website where they're going to put all the ads that they create that can be referred to easily by either the community members or actual press release companies or news organizations or whatever. So that's actually been that company, Blue Links Marketing, has been building this platform for us for the last month or so, I think a month and a half. In maybe a couple months, we'll start to see real tangible results, actual ads live, that sort of thing.
Okay,
we did that. And then real quick, just to get to your question, we also have just partnered with a long-term community member who is on the forums and on the chat. He's been around since Vericoin started, has been a Vericoin holder for since the beginning, and he has a lot of business experience doing IT type management stuff for different companies and implementing different systems for large corporations, et cetera, et cetera. He came to us recently with a very good idea on an actual use case for Vericoin. Unfortunately, I can't yet give really any details because we're in the process. We partnered with him. We're in the process of getting a trademark for the name. But I can tell you it's going to be an app, and it's going to use Vericoin as the back end, and it's going to be a mainstream targeted app. It's going to be in the social media category of apps. Okay. And it's going to use Vericoin fast transaction time on the back end. Essentially, anyone could use the app. They could do payments or not do payments, depending on their preference. If they do payments, it'll be in Vericoin, and the denomination will largely be in their local currency. So they'll basically be like, if I want to send $7 to this person, I push a button with my finger, I touch a button, and ultimately what happens is Vericoin gets sent from user to user. So we're building in partnership with one of the community members an actual use case around a social media via an app that will hopefully in not too long go live on the Apple and Android App Store.
Cool. That sounds like some secret stuff. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I'd love to give more details. As soon as we have trademarking and some of the basic legal things set up, then we can start giving more details. But that's what we can say right now.
All right. So as soon as you started talking, I just bought some Vericoin. Beat you, suckers.
So so we're working on a direct use case via a social media network, a new social media network. in Vericoin, and then Verium's use case is to some extent a decentralizing support structure for Vericoin. It's not actually needed, but it basically just makes it that much more secure, that additional blocks are accepted from a totally different source, with totally different intentions, and those are the miners.
I mean,
But also but another major reason for Varium that I'm also working on now, that I haven't really talked much about, for a couple of reasons. One is because once you start talking about something, people start wondering when it's coming, and Varium, was just launched a couple months ago, and we want to make sure everything's solid. And actually, we don't have like a massive surge in mining, but other than that, mostly because people don't quite understand what the point of it is, I think, as of this point.
The point of it is that I just click the button and I make money.
Yeah, that's one of the points. And but apart from that, the protocol itself has been working great. We effectively achieved a POW that you can't mine with a GPU. Possibly one day you could, but it's going to be a while, years. You could always make an ASIC for something, but that would take even longer, and the Varium price would have to be extremely high for it to be profitable to do such a thing, because of how much memory it uses. So we have the capacity with Varium to have many nodes all over the world, and that's what we wanted. We wanted to make sure that the system was capable of that. And one of the things that I'm also working on is making it such that the simple user interface that you described, that's so easy and so accessible, has also the most efficient miner algorithms for any architecture that it can be run on. So you can run Varium mining on a Raspberry Pi. Obviously, it's not super fast, but if you have 30 of them, you're doing okay. You can run it on. You could potentially run it on a smartphone. Actually, that would be interesting. That hasn't been done yet. That would be a cool app. And then you can, of course, run it on a computer. What was I getting at? We basically have the capacity to have many nodes in these different architectures that aren't GPUs or ASICs, and I'm like 95% done with making the in-wallet miner optimizations equal to the assembly, like low-level assembly code that's written by professional mining optimization programmers. It's actually taken a lot longer than we thought to get that all implemented into the wallet, because it's complex, and assembly code is not something that I've dealt with before. But we're very close to having the in-wallet miner be as efficient and fast as the assembly, basically the solo mining applications that people use. So that will continue to encourage the ease of use, which is a great feature of Varium, and that will to some extent negate the desire to pool. The fee structure in Varium is significantly increased relative to other coins, partly because it's a commodity and we want it to be as such, but also to inhibit, to minimize any incentives to want to pool. So right now we have one pool, which is not really a good thing, because if you do have pools, you want to have as many pools as possible. However, we're not focused on pool mining. We want to be focused on in-wallet mining, and we want that to be the point.
Honestly, I tried using the pools.
Yeah.
I really didn't like it. It was so much easier, and I think I got a lot more just by clicking. I have about 4 computers here in front of me right now, and they all got Varium on it right now mining. I mean, not as we're talking, because I had to shut it off for memory usage, but
yeah.
You know, I sometimes I come home from work, you know, and I struck gold like 4 times.
Yeah, and once the new wallet comes out with the even better miner, I think most people will come to that conclusion that pool mining, you have to pay fees to the pool most of the time. But aside from that, to withdraw, you have to lose, a good fraction of your earnings. And especially as more miners come on board, those fees are constant relative to the kilobyte size of your transaction. So as mining continues to go forward and miners increase over time, the rewards will decrease proportionally to the increase in mining. And then the fees will actually be a greater percentage of your rewards. So basically, those fees are really going to, those pool fees and the transaction fees to withdraw out of the pool are really going to come at a significant cost. So we're basically gearing up for long-term solo mining from the wallet, keeping the POW as decentralized as possible. And because it's GPU resistant, meaning it basically, you can mine on a GPU, but it's slow because the data transfer latency between a CPU and GPU is slow when there's a large memory needs.
Right. You need a GPU with lots of RAM.
You need a GPU with lots of RAM, and honestly, they just like for instance, I've mined Verium on the live network with GPUs, and I had one of the GPUs that I tested on was a well, I've tested on a 280X, which performed even worse, but I tested on a GTX 680, which is now like a year old or so. But at the time, it was like an $800 GPU, and I couldn't get. I basically got a third of what my i3 got. So my hash rate, and that's basically just because of the memory requirements. GPUs are bad at handling large memory. They're great at handling very small units of memory. So basically, we want to have a truly solo mined, decentralized POW. And then there's another that I was getting to before. There's another reason for Varium, another use case, and this is quite interesting. For a long time, so we have Verasend in the Vericoin wallet, which is basically an in-wallet mixing service for private transactions or large, hard to they're hard to be made public, and it's basically it's a novel mixing mechanism, but it is coin mixing. It's inefficient. It takes quite a bit of time, and it costs transaction fees because the coins have to move a number of times to have the mixing be effective. And it's always been a potentially decentralized solution, but no one ever was really interested in running a server for it, so it always stayed basically centralized, and that's understandable. There's no real benefit to running a server for it, and if you wanted to do that, you would probably do Dash or something like that, where that's like their whole emphasis. So for a long time, we've been working on decentralizing private transactions using cryptography, basically. And honestly, we came to the conclusion that it's basically impossible without doing something like what Zcash did, which is essentially encrypt the whole blockchain, the to's and froms effectively. And like as exampled by Zcash, where they spent a lot of time working this out, there's one major problem, and that is that they had a trusted setup, which basically means, though I actually trust them, you do have to trust them to not have held the private keys that created the trusted setup for the anonymous system. And if they did keep those keys, they could potentially manufacture counterfeit coins as much as they want. No one would ever know because the to's and froms are encrypted.
Right. So anonymous that it's too anonymous.
Yeah, it's like basically it's essentially it's too anonymous, and there's a chicken and egg problem with the trust factor. So so the other reason for Varium's existence, which I'm really now just starting to talk about, but have been working on it for a while, is using the two blockchains to perform private transactions. The cool thing is Varium and Vericoin have the same key format. So if you have an address, and we did this in the ICO, if you have an address on your Vericoin wallet, you can export the private key and import it into Varium and accept Varium at that same address. But they're two separate blockchains. They're two totally different, distinct blockchains at the transaction level. But the awesome thing about having the same address format is that you can provably know that whoever owns a public address on the Vericoin blockchain can also own that public address on the Varium blockchain. So it makes it actually very easy to perform decentralized peer-to-peer trades between the two coins, because all you have to do is have one relatively simple multi-sig transaction where you create a multi-sig address with two addresses, and that same multi-sig address, the Varium can be sent to and the Vericoin can be sent to, and each respective party can release together in a multi-sig withdraw, basically, their trade to one another on the separate blockchains. So we can do potentially, not potentially, we can do these really nifty, relatively simple, decentralized peer-to-peer trades. And the other cool part is, so you can provably know who owns what address on either blockchain. But each blockchain doesn't necessarily have the same transaction, doesn't have the same transaction data as the other blockchain. So there is ways, and I'm not going to get into the details right yet because I don't want to give away too much, but there is ways to have information provably known for a decentralized trade, but not provably known on the other end exactly where it's ending up, where the trade is resulting in. So essentially the other purpose for Varium is if you perform this decentralized trade peer-to-peer from Vericoin to Varium, you can sever the public record of your ownership, basically, by performing this decentralized trade. So in this way, basically, you can get within minutes a private transaction, and we're trying to decide whether we're going to do it both ways, or whether we have to do it both ways, or whether we're going to opt to do it one way. But right now I'm leaning towards opting to do it one way, meaning you have Vericoin, and if you want to privatize your record of it, well, privatize isn't the right word. If you want to make your record of ownership private, you do a decentralized peer-to-peer trade to Varium, and basically when you're in Varium, your public connection to your value is severed.
It sounds like you could possibly do a lot more with Vericoin than you're doing right now. That's for sure.
Yes.
I heard that there's a chance that you guys might be molding the two wallets into one.
Yes, that is. So basically, the list goes like this.
Oh, hold on! Alert! Roadmap, people! Roadmap.
So we have, and it's basically an overview of what I just said. We have decentralized peer-to-peer trades that will be also the private transaction scheme. We have a consensus pairing, which will allow Vericoin blockchain to accept Varium's POW blocks. And then we have also in both wallets the capability to do those peer-to-peer trades in wallet through the user interface easily. And we'll probably end up having a specialized chat in one of the in the peer-to-peer decentralized trade, kind of like a chat, but structured chat for buying and selling, so that basically you can easily arrange these peer-to-peer decentralized trades in each wallet. And then so basically once all those things are tied together, we're going to then also create a unified wallet that allows you to run both chains at the same time if you want. You can run one chain at any given time, or the other. But we will also always have the two separate wallets, because, for instance, like solo miners may not care about getting Vericoin all that much, and they have the option to just run the Verium wallet, and Vericoin users may not be interested in Verium. There might be, and then there's going to be people who want this ecosystem all kind of tied together, which we're going to work on. But that ecosystem is going to be the final thing, the final piece of this pairing. That'll be a new client where everything's unified together. But we will maintain as well the separate clients also.
All right. There's your roadmap, fellas. I mean, how long do you, any time frame for these? You giving yourself a time frame, or?
I mean,
Ninja.
Yeah, it's always a struggle, because, for instance, like doing to give a clear time frame. For instance, doing the optimized mining, I thought was going to take me like a few weeks, but it's actually taking me like a couple months. So I think that everything but the unified wallet, the dual wallet, everything but that is definitely doable within 6 months to a year. And some parts of it will come much sooner than that. Parts of it will come, around that time. And then I'm not sure, honestly, the user interface stuff is oftentimes the most time consuming, because actually Steve, one of the developers, he's really good at user interfaces, and he overhauled the Vericoin user interface really well. But there's random stuff, like when we overhauled so this refers to the joint wallet. When we overhauled the user interface, we were all done. We tested on Windows, we tested on Linux, all good. And we compiled on Mac, and the thing crashed. And it took us like a month to figure out that the Mac operating system didn't like the font that we were using. And so the user interface stuff is sometimes incredibly unpredictable.
It's hard to get feedback sometimes on that stuff.
Yeah, that too. So the joint wallet, I'm going to give no timeline on right now, because although it wouldn't take that long, as years or something. But the joint wallet, I'm not ready to give a timeline on. The other stuff, within 6 months to a year, could be sooner, could be in that time frame. That's what I'm expecting. And then also the app that we're working on as a third-party partnership from the ICO funds, the use case for Vericoin, our target is within 6 months to have that app released as well. So we got a bunch of stuff coming up.
And when do you think the full-fledged marketing is going to kick into effect?
That should be within, I would say, like a month or two, because essentially all the data gathering is largely done. The resource site still needs some filling out, but it's the structure of it is complete. And then they're going to start generating ads, like designing and building ads, different types of ads for the internet, for Google, video ads, all kinds of different stuff. So we should start seeing actual like ads live. I haven't actually asked them directly this recently, but I would expect within like a month or so.
All right, that's cool. And so now that we have a good assessment and we see that VRC does have a future and there's somebody working really hard and he's not anonymous, which is one of my quips, with some of these, oh, I'm anonymous, I'm not going to show myself. You know what? It's hard to make a popular coin when you're not showing yourself, Uh, but speaking of, so back in the day, there was an arrangement with SuperNet.
Yes.
How did that turn out? I mean, I know people are saying, oh, they didn't do anything for. I'm reading from the forums, the Vericoin forums, and they're saying, oh, they didn't do anything for us. But honestly, I see Vericoin in the SuperNet wallet. I'm an avid user of SuperNet. I love SuperNet.
Yeah.
I love the Super BTC. It's really cool. You could actually send Bitcoin right to a Bitcoin wallet from their wallet.
Right.
Makes it easy. So
Yeah.
what was it that they did? To calm the storm that's going on, that with all these people saying they didn't do anything.
Well, one of the things that we were really interested in incorporating, which I have to actually get a status update on these days, is the decentralized market that SuperNet was working on. Do you know what the current status of that is?
I believe it was called Instadex.
Yeah,
and
Instadex. Yeah.
And I never heard from it again.
Yeah, so
everybody.
One of the main things everybody wanted was that, especially because of the MinPal, debacle. So we were almost kind of waiting to. Our plan was originally we were thinking we would basically build, like some coins did, the SuperNet wallet into the Vericoin wallet. But our wallet was just getting there's too much stuff and it was using too many resources, and then we'd have to run. Well, we wouldn't have to, but the way to do it all would be to run the next blockchain, and now we're talking about two blockchains, which we're not doing currently, even with Verium, for instance, in one wallet. And so one of the things that we were really kind of focused on was integrating Instadex or InstaDEX or however you pronounce it. That we were going to put in a tab, for sure. But that ended up not panning out. I think Next changed. Their next 2.0 kind of changed the scheme for. I'm not all that familiar with Next stuff, right. But they changed the scheme for the way that the assets work, and I think that changed the prospects for InstaDEX.
Right. And speaking of, NXT seems to have taken a turn for the worst. No one's really using it anymore.
Yeah.
They switched over to something called Ardor, and it's not gaining popularity. It's really hard to get people to get on a platform.
Yeah.
You can't really expect thousands of people to switch to a new platform easily.
Right.
So I don't know who the genius was behind it that thought that they were going to switch to a whole new name and a whole new blockchain.
Yeah.
For whatever reasons, they should have kept it the same name and as similar as possible.
Yeah.
But and that's where they went wrong. They lost me. I really loved NXT. I thought it was freaking awesome. I thought it was one of the best things, since sliced bread.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it dropped off, and now they call this thing Ardor. And hey, listen, if there's someone out there that wants to come on the show and explain to me what the deal is with Ardor and how it works and what it's all about, I mean, because I'm not a kid. I work 60 hours a week. I don't got time to be researching 1,000 coins.
Yeah.
The coin that comes my way is going to be the easy one.
Right.
Like Waves.
Yeah.
Easy. I mean, dude, let me tell you, Waves platform, I click the button The wallet was installed in like 10 seconds in my Chrome browser. I was done.
Nice.
I'm telling you, it is by far number one on my list at the moment because it was so easy to use. I go upstairs, I go on my mom's computer, I go, hey mom, look, you want a Waves wallet? Boom. Right there on her Chrome browser, installed. Hey, it's easy.
Yeah,
It's
that's cool.
so simple. And you know what? That Dex that you're asking about, there's a guy called BC Dev inside the Wave Slack, and he's
Yeah.
not part of the dev team at all. But he took the wallet and he actually incorporated Dogecoin in the wallet, kind of like the way you're in the VRC wallet.
Yeah.
He did it like overnight.
Yeah.
I mean, one guy just did it overnight. He incorporated a coin, and you could trade Dogecoin on the Waves platform using tokens.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, I'm really blown away by and they're only like 2 months old. They're so young yet. And they got so many plans.
Right.
And so not to push it out. I'm just saying, it's definitely number one on my list. I'm honest. I sold Vericoin at 90,000, bro. I'm sorry. I did. I had 200 Verium. And I was like, holy Jesus, this thing is like tanking, and I got out right away.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is a volatile marketplace. You got to do what you got to do,
But technically, if I bought it right now, I'd have like 9 times more, probably more. So that you got to make your moves. But
yeah, you got to make your moves.
That aside, I'm hoping that that we'll see more from SuperNet eventually. And
yeah, I think. I mean, the reality is this shit is hard. You know what I mean? I mean, we've seen from Ethereum, for instance, how much trouble they've had with elements of their system, elements of their protocol, and it's not for a lack of experts. I don't think. Maybe some obviously everybody makes mistakes and et cetera, but the stuff is hard. I mean, it's a combination of many technologies, and then you have to add in, of course, this highly latency dependent network effect, and that alone, the network dynamic alone, is a very complex problem. And then you add in all these other features, smart contracts, all these things, and it's basically exceedingly complex. So I think with SuperNet, I think it's very similar to what often happens, which is there's really great ideas. It's hard to execute all of them in a reasonable time frame. And you get done what you can, and it's not for a lack of trying. And then you go forward from there, and a lot's depend on the market and the people you have who are available to put in a good amount of time. I mean, and it's a 24/7 market that's constantly changing. Like right now, we're in this crazy Bitcoin bull run, and we're probably going to bring in a whole new crypto noob market, and then the whole system is gonna equilibrate to that. So things change very quickly, and we've basically been trying to implement things that we know will be valuable even after significant change. So we've kind of after the initial feature drop and the initial release, we've been basically working hard on significant things, like a specialized, unique POW that has all these attributes that I mentioned earlier, like a peer-to-peer decentralized trade system across 2 chains, consensus pairing. Things that are a little bit more timeless. That's what we've been trying to do as a hedge against the unpredictability of this market.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. It's very rare to see just a CPU coin.
Yeah,
It's rare. I mean, there's
is.
really there's not that many out there that you can easily. I mean, I made a big deal about Waves being easy to install, but let me tell you, Varium is easy to install. Easy. Also, it's a little different though. It's not like a plug into a browser like Waves.
Right.
It's an actual application. So you just got to install it.
Right.
But once you install it, it's easy.
Yeah.
You know how easy it is to mine it. It's not like you have to install SG Miner there and CG Miner, and you got there's some other ones out there, and you got to figure out why your cards why it's shutting off, or why your cards are getting too hot, and
for instance, one of the markets we want to hit with Varium eventually is the Indian market, where basically you have a ton of people. There is a major discrepancy in class, in bank account balance between people, or whether people even have a bank account. But even people in little villages will have access to, some old computer. You know what I mean?
When it started, I broke out all my old computers, man. I had 7 computers. I had old laptops. I had to dust off.
Yeah.
And they were getting like 100 megahash, like a second one of those.
Yeah.
You know what? I did it anyway. One processor.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean we can it can handle many nodes coming from anywhere in the world, and you could be rich or you could be poor, and you could mine Varium. You could be technically savvy or you could not be. So we have the foundation set for a massive growth, but people as of yet, for a good reason, don't quite understand the point of Varium, and it's perceived by many just to be another throwaway coin. And over time, we think people's opinions will.
All right. Yeah, I think they will. It's there's a few bitter people out there. I'm not gonna lie to you. And,
Of course.
The whole MintPal and the whole reversal of the blockchain, or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some incidents. Have you? I know that there was an idea on the forum. Some crazy guy. I don't know if he was high on cocaine or something, but he had a decent idea. It was pretty decent. He said combine the coins and call it like something like Vericoinium.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what we're gonna do in a sense, with the integrated wallet. And how exactly we do that, we're still working it out. It might be because we're gonna have the 2 core wallets, for basically so that we can have full nodes, for each network easily. But for the integrated wallet, we might have two, basically 2 light wallets, meaning they're like SPV wallets, but you own the private keys for them. That might be the way we go. We're still working that out. It's probably going to be the way we go because no one wants to run 2 blockchains. So.
Right. And it's hard to manage 2 at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, even if we made it under the hood, they're just both running. It's going to use a significant amount of resources, and I think it's not going to be worth it. So we are going to unify them on the client side, in the most efficient way we think possible. Definitely keeping, obviously, the decentralized ownership of your coins, but maybe it won't be a full node on each network.
I mean, I think the best way is just to simplify it. I mean, simplify it to the point where you call one slow and one fast. That's it. I mean, that's it. Don't give them any names. Just, you want to send it slow or you want to send it fast. That's it.
Yeah. Well, one of the themes that I think is actually important, is this gold standard concept. And basically, the reason I think it's important is because when you say gold standard to someone, anyone, they basically know what you're talking about. You're talking about the value of the currency being standardized to a commodity called gold. And, most people know what that is. So we are trying to set up that framework where you have this intuitive grasp where you can basically, there's no reason, for instance, to have your varium coins or your varium commodity, your varium units. There's no reason to have them online necessarily. It's not like you're staking. So you can basically, so for instance, if you had a lot of Vericoin and you performed a decentralized trade to Varium, and you won't even have to necessarily have the Varium wallet, because your private key on your Vericoin wallet will work on Varium. So basically, you can just do a decentralized trade to a private key,
right?
or
Export,
to a public key,
and then export it.
And then when you're ready to move Varium, you just import it into a Varium client and move it. But basically, it can be like you have your currency. You keep the wallet live. You want to earn interest. It's fast. It's easy to send around. It's good for spending. And if you want to hedge on something that is more conservative and gives you the option of more privacy, you can just perform a decentralized trade to Varium on a key that you own, that you generate from your Vericoin wallet, and then just boom, it's away. It's almost like taking your cash, buying a bar of gold, putting it in a safe for a later day.
Nice. All right, man. Very cool. Very cool. I think we're hitting about an hour right now.
Yeah.
And I want you to feel free to always come back and give me some updates on Vericoin.
Yeah, definitely. Just contact me directly. That's the easiest way.
Yeah.
And,
I got your number. You're in New Jersey still, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I travel there every day for work.
Oh, where do you go into Jersey?
Bedminster.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know where that is.
So I travel there from Staten Island every day.
How long does it take you?
It's about an hour drive.
Okay. Yeah.
More or less. With no traffic, it's like 32 minutes. But there's always traffic.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I know. I'm
but,
like 40 minutes from Bedminster. I'm 40 minutes south of Bedminster, basically.
Cool, man. So when it comes time to do those shows, let me know, man. We get together.
Yeah, we could
plan something. Yeah, we could plan something.
Maybe if we do a big live thing with a group. JJ actually is also in Jersey now, so we could 3 of us could potentially get together. Maybe Pat, he's still in Jersey, and we could maybe do a big group thing. That'd be fun.
He's gonna want to race me.
Oh yeah, what car do you have?
He's gonna my G35. He's gonna want to race me with his BMW. Nice. I know him.
Yeah. I go in his car and it's like I'm in a plane or something. Like the G forces.
Nice. Cool, man. Yeah, we should definitely do something. On that note, also everybody, if you were listening very closely, there's a lot of people in the Vericoin community that make very good videos. All right,
yeah.
Make a video showing how you could decentralize and send the Vericoin to the Varium address, and then import it into the wallet, like showing it. Whoever's making those videos, he's really talented.
Yeah, his username is Albin on the forums, and yeah, he did so much work. It's so great. It's really great.
He's doing some good work, and you know, when it comes time, I can help you out with that too.
Cool.
All right, fellas. Hey, Doug, I love you, man. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, man.
Next time I'll ask Cavando to come on too.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Yeah.
we could
Like
we
the
could all
good
get
old
together
days.
online. Yeah.
Good old days.
All right, brother. Be good. Thank you. Thank you. And is there anything else you want to throw out there? Everybody, let me say something real quick. Vericoinforums.com.
Yes.
Vericoinforums.com. That's where you go to get the latest information. They don't participate in Bitcoin talk trash. Actually, I think you do now.
No, we
don't
do.
you?
We do. We opened it back up, mostly because there's a lot of people that we were missing out on. But Vericoin Forums is where you go if you want to be like a more active community member or participate or have access to the latest news, have access to media, have access to ads that the marketed company is going to be generating, things like that. That's where we disseminate all the information to everybody. And then Bitcoin Talk, we have one for Verium and one for Vericoin. We reopened the Vericoin one because we closed it because we had the Vericoin forums and there was like so much FUD for a while. But we reopened it and we have the new strategy of just ignoring the FUD, and that's working out. But definitely responding to constructive criticism. That's important. So Bitcoin Talk forum, we're there. You'll get decent updates there. I post there often enough to keep everyone abreast of what's going on, and Pat does too. But Vericoin forums is where the real action is happening. And also on our website, vericoin.info, you can link to our new Vericoin chat, which is not on what the heck is it? I can't remember what it's called. What's the old chat?
It's like called Rocket something, right?
Yeah, we're
I
on
think I've seen
Rocket.
it.
We're on Rocket Chat now. There's in the links section of vericoin.info. There's the new chat, which is Rocket Chat. I can't remember the name of the old chat, but we never go there anymore. There's actually a lot of people in Rocket Chat. It's kind of like an open source version of oh man, I'm like blanking on these chat names. What's the one? Slack. It's like an open source version of Slack.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, one of the really active community members, Tim, set that up, and it's really nice. So there's a lot of action in there too. So if you're really looking to get in touch with the community, go to the chat from the website, or the forums has basically everything.
Cool. And if somebody had a business proposal for you, how would they get in touch with you personally?
dpike@vericoin.info is my email. And also that's my Google email as well. So you could G-chat me on that. That's probably it. Or I'm in the chat, or I'm on the forums. I'm always in those two places as well.
All right, brother. Thank you for coming on. Love you. Keep it real. I'll see you soon. And everybody, thank you. I didn't expect so many people to be on right now. We actually had a lot of people listening.
Nice.
So yeah, I don't promote them. I just every once in a while I'll throw out a link onto Slacks. Just saying if you want to listen in, because the show I have to edit still, so it'll take me at least a day to get all the work done.
Okay.
And then I'll post it on the SoundCloud for everybody to hear. But sometimes, I've had people say, oh, they don't do it live. They edit their shows. Well, you know what? I really do it live. I just, I just like to edit it for, there's normalization. I could remove all the echoing in the back. Make it nice and clean.
Yeah.
So, that aside, everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. Everybody, enjoy your Christmas. Merry Christmas, Doug. Happy
Merry
New Year,
Christmas
brother.
to you, man.
And I hope everything works out well for everybody, including Jay. My heart is with him. I know he's going through a tough time. He'll be back, I'm sure, one day. Just like, I took a vacation for about 4 or 5 months. So it happens to everybody.
Oh yeah.
So come back stronger, better. All right, fellas. Thank you for joining us. This is Lutz signing out. Right, and Doug, stick around 2 seconds.
Yeah. Thanks, man.